On a warm July morning in 2014, a young man sprinted out of a Bulgarian airport, leaving behind his luggage, passport, and any trace of his former life. His name was Lars Mittank, and since that fateful day, he has never been seen again. How does a routine vacation turn into one of the most perplexing disappearances of our time? Welcome to Mystery Unveiled. Today, we delve deep into the vanishing of Lars Mittank, a case that has baffled investigators, intrigued internet sleuths, and tugged at the heartstrings of people worldwide. What chain of events led to his sudden flight from the airport? Was he running from a real threat? Or was something more sinister at play? Join us as we unravel the twists and turns of this haunting mystery, exploring the theories and evidence that might finally shed light on what truly happened to Lars Mittank. To understand the gravity of Lars Mittank's disappearance, we must first journey back to the summer of 2014. Lars, a 28-year-old from a town in northern Germany, decided to take a vacation with his friends to Varna, a coastal city in Bulgaria known for its sunny beaches and vibrant nightlife. Employed at a power plant, he looked forward to this typical getaway, a chance to unwind, enjoy the sea, and create lasting memories. The trip started off without a hitch. Lars and his friends indulged in all the typical tourist activities: sunbathing on Golden Sands Beach, exploring local restaurants, and then soaking up the nightlife. They visited historical sites, enjoyed water sports, and embraced the carefree spirit that comes with a summer holiday. However, events took an unexpected turn on the evening of July the 6th. While at a local bar, Lars got into a minor altercation with other patrons over football, specifically a disagreement about rival German football clubs. The scuffle was brief and seemingly insignificant, but it did mark the beginning of a series of odd occurrences. The following day, Lars began complaining about ear pain. Concerned, his friend suggested he see a doctor. He visited a local hospital where he was diagnosed with a perforated eardrum, a condition that could prevent him from flying due to the risk of associated air pressure changes. The doctor prescribed him an antibiotic called cefprozil and advised him to delay his return flight until he was medically cleared. The injury, though not life-threatening, was enough to alter his travel plans. His friends did offer to stay with him, but Lars insisted that they go home as planned. He assured him that he would be fine and would catch a flight back to Germany once his ear healed. This decision would be the last time his friends would ever see him. They parted ways, never imagining the events that would soon unfold. Alone, in a foreign country, Lars checked into a hotel in Varna. This is where his behavior began to raise eyebrows. Reports from hotel staff indicate that Lars appeared nervous and agitated. He was seen pacing the halls, peering out windows, and acting as if he was being followed. He refused to go to his hotel room at times, choosing instead to stay in the lobby. At one point, he reportedly told his mother over the phone that he feared for his life, claiming that 4 men were after him and that she should cancel his credit cards. He whispered during the call as if afraid of being overheard. His mother, Sandra Mittank, sensed something was wrong. She urged him to seek help or contact the police, but Lars seemed reluctant. He mentioned that the men were hired by a group or perhaps related to the altercation at the bar. Though his explanation was fragmented and confusing, the fear in his voice was palpable, leaving his mother deeply worried. On July the 8th, Lars made his way to Varna Airport, seemingly ready to return home. CCTV footage captured his erratic behavior inside the terminal. He was seen entering and exiting the building multiple times, checking flight information boards and exhibiting signs of distress. He visited the airport doctor expressing paranoia about the medicine he was taking. He reportedly told the doctor that he felt unsafe and didn't want to die. During the consultation, though, an unknown man, possibly an airport maintenance worker, entered the room, prompting Lars to flee. He left behind his luggage, including his wallet and passport, sprinting out of the airport. He scaled a fence and disappeared into the surrounding fields and forest. Since that day, there have been no confirmed sightings of Lars Mittank. Despite extensive searches by the Bulgarian authorities, private investigators, and his desperate family, his fate remains unknown. His disappearance has sparked numerous theories, each attempting to make sense of the baffling circumstances that led to his vanishing. One prevailing theory suggests that Lars experienced a psychotic episode, possibly triggered by stress, injury, or an adverse reaction to the antibiotic ciprazole. While severe neuropsychiatric side effects are rare, certain medications can, in combination with other factors, contribute to symptoms like hallucinations and paranoia. Supporters of this theory point to his sudden behavioral changes, like his fear of being followed, erratic movements, and the distress expressed during phone calls with his mother. They argue that an adverse reaction could have triggered a psychotic episode, leading him to flee from perceived threats. The fact that he was alone, injured, and in an unfamiliar environment may have worsened his condition. However, medical professionals generally consider cefuroxime a safe antibiotic with minimal side effects. Severe neuropsychiatric reactions are not commonly associated with this medication. Additionally, there's no concrete evidence that Lars had a history of mental health issues or that he consumed any other substance that could have induced such a state. His friends and family described him as stable, responsible, and not prone to risky behaviors. Another theory delves into the darker possibilities of organized crime, specifically organ trafficking. Bulgaria has, at times, struggled with criminal networks involved in human trafficking and illegal organ trade. Some speculate that Lars became an unwitting target of such a group. Supporters of this theory highlight his fear of being pursued by unknown men, as mentioned in his calls to his mother. They suggest that the initial altercation at the bar might have made him a target, or that he witnessed something that he shouldn't have, prompting criminal elements to silence him. His sudden disappearance without a trace fuels the suspicion that he was abducted for nefarious purposes. Some disagree with this theory, noting there's no evidence that organized crime was involved. There have been no ransom demands or credible clues suggesting Lars was a victim of such activities. Also, organ trafficking usually targets vulnerable individuals from marginalized communities, not tourists in well-patrolled public areas. The CCTV footage shows him running away on his own, not being taken against his will. A more unconventional theory proposes that Lars chose to disappear intentionally, perhaps to start a new life. This idea suggests that the pressures of his personal or professional life prompted him to seize the opportunity to vanish and assume a new identity. Supporters of this theory note that disappearing from one's life is not unheard of, and that the chaotic events could have been orchestrated as a cover. They argue that leaving behind personal belongings and creating a scenario of distress could divert suspicion from a voluntary departure. Some on the internet have even connected unverified sightings of Lars in various countries as evidence that he's still alive and living under a new identity. However, this theory faces significant challenges. By all accounts, Lars had a stable job, a close relationship with his family, and no known reason to abandon his life abruptly. His genuine panic, as evidenced in CCTV footage and phone calls, seems inconsistent with someone calmly orchestrating their own disappearance. His family had also dismissed this idea, insisting that he had plans and aspirations he wouldn't abandon. Our final theory considers the possibility of an accidental death after he fled the airport. The area surrounding Varna Airport includes forests, fields, and industrial zones. It's conceivable that Lars, in a state of fear or confusion, met with an accident, perhaps fallen into a hidden ditch, encountering wildlife, or succumbing to the elements. Supporters of this theory point to cases where missing persons are found in hard-to-reach areas long after searches have been concluded. The initial search efforts may have missed critical zones, especially if Lars moved quickly or hid intentionally. The lack of personal belongings on his person could explain why no traces have been found either. Yet, extensive searches conducted by authorities and volunteers have yielded no evidence to support this theory. No clothing, remains, or personal items linked to Lars have been discovered in the vicinity. Additionally, Bulgaria's climate in July is warm, reducing the likelihood of succumbing to harsh weather conditions. After looking at all these theories, I find myself drawn to the possibility of a mental health crisis as the most possible explanation for Lars's disappearance. The sudden onset of paranoia and fear suggests that he may have experienced an acute psychotic episode, possibly triggered by a combination of stress, injury, and the medication. Let's consider all the factors here at play. Lars was in a foreign country, recovering from a physical altercation and dealing with a potential ear injury that can impact his ability to fly home. The antibiotic, while not commonly associated with severe side effects, can't be entirely ruled out as a contributing factor when combined with stress and possibly undiagnosed mental health conditions that were going on with him at the time. The isolation and language barriers may have intensified his anxiety. His behavior at the hotel, pacing, looking out of windows, and expressing fear, aligns with symptoms of psychosis. The culmination of these events at the airport, where he fled suddenly after appearing agitated, reinforces the notion that he was not in a rational state of mind. It's possible that the entry of the maintenance worker during his medical consultation was misinterpreted as a threat, triggering his flight response. While the theories involving foul play or voluntary disappearance can't be entirely dismissed, they lack substantial evidence. There are no leads pointing to criminal involvement, and his personal life doesn't suggest a motive for vanishing intentionally. The accidental death theory, while possible, seems less likely given the lack of physical evidence. Ultimately, the tragedy of Lars Mittank's disappearance lies not just in the mystery of his vanishing, but in the unanswered questions about his well-being in those final moments. Did he succumb to confusion and fear in an unfamiliar place? The hope for a safe return endures, fueled by sporadic reports and the relentless love of his family. The disappearance of Lars Mittank continues to haunt all who hear his story. It's a sobering reminder of how quickly life can veer off course and how crucial it is to support those experiencing distress, especially in an unfamiliar environment. His case has prompted discussions about traveler safety, mental health awareness, and the challenges of international cooperation in missing persons cases. As we reflect on this case, we're left with more questions than answers. What truly happened to Lars after he sprinted out of the Varna airport? Could more have been done to prevent his disappearance? And perhaps most importantly, is there still hope for his return? So what do you think happened to Lars? Do you believe one of the theories we discussed holds the key? Or is there another explanation we've yet to uncover? Your insights might shed new light on this enduring mystery. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Mystery Unveiled, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.